Humans of the Cardboard. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. Yeah, we're here. You know, Konami wanted to give us a little tiny present before Christmas, so they released their OCG ban list. I loosely follow the OCG's format, just basically Road to the King type stuff. I keep an eye on what's coming, and I usually keep an eye on it to see mostly how like newer products and newer releases are doing, to see how they might apply to the TCG. But we can still get some cool stuff from the OCG's ban list and the way their format develops. So let's get into this thing. This one is not huge, it doesn't look like. There's a decent amount of movements, but the OCG always has a decent amount of movements on their ban list. But as you can see, for the bans, the only ban here on the list this time around is Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. Really cool to see. I mean, listen, as you can see on the most recent metagame breakdown, even before this ban list, Centurion is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th most represented deck. So it was not a problem, but still we've seen in other areas, other combo, like synchro combo decks still being able to end on this. But Centurion definitely seems like the most crazy abuser. The fact that it's able to basically end on the, like, get to this via one card and the combos that play under Nib, combos that play through Droll kind of thing. And that's probably a little bit too much. Only other thing I'd say here is Centurion's still relatively new for them. I think this could be an indication that Centurion's about to get decent support in Legacy of Destruction. I believe Legacy of Destruction is the first set where it should be live to get support. And I think if they ban a card like this, which is their main game plan going first, they need to replace it with something, because there's no great Synchro 12 or 8 that really quite replaces the power of this card. But if they give them their own in-archetype one, that's a decent, like maybe just a better card on the opponent's turn than the Synchro 12 they already have, whereas that card's better because it draws and stuff. That could be something there. So I would actually keep an eye out open for that. All right, into the limited section. They also released Redox, which is really cool. This is one that we already obviously just got on our most recent ban list. Cool to see. This card is totally fine. This card is like a bad Vernisylph. Was how I heard somebody describe it, and I'm totally down with that. That's actually pretty on point. It just doesn't have a restriction, but its effect is just straight up like weaker than most Vernisylphs. Ib, the World Challenge Justikyar. I mean, wow, we're actually kind of lining up here a lot of these unbans together. Cool to see. A little bit scary, but especially for the OCG where they kind of punish super combo-y decks because of Max C and stuff. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's interesting. I think it's a little bit scary that it could come up as like a pretty abusable card in certain combo piles, but other than that, I think it's totally fine. Heavy Storm, they actually unlimit. That's an interesting one as well. This is a card that I've been saying can totally come off the list, and especially only at 1 to start. Not a big deal. People are saying that like there are some broken applications to popping your own back row, but like fine. Like I'm totally okay with that. That is not a huge deal. I still like this card to come back. I'd like to see it on our next ban list. I think it's totally fine. Emergency to 1. Now this is the first like actual hit to the metagame. I mean, Calamities just hit the 8th best deck. How about hitting the 2nd best deck, Rescue Ace, that's been around for a minute in their format, pulling really good numbers for a while. Finally hitting them down a little bit further, getting Emergency to 1. This is kind of the hit I wanted to see on our last ban list, but we ended up getting Airlifter to 1 instead, which is still like a sort of hit. Definitely hurts like the potency of some of their hands, but this one's interesting. This one's really interesting because Rescue Ace is the 2nd best deck, and there is no hit on here to the Sinful Spoil stuff, that Snake Eye stuff, Fire King at all. And so now we might see Fire King like truly take over. I mean, Rescue Ace was the deck kind of like cutting into Fire King a little bit, but even the 2nd best deck gets cut down. So now Fire King may shoot up over 30% representation and be really scary, but we'll have to see. Now we see Rivalry go to limited. That's cool to see. We just saw all the floodgates in the TCG get hit. I mean, honestly, like they're copying a lot of TCG stuff here. 3 of these limited hits are just straight up copies of the TCG, which is crazy. But yeah, that's cool. Into the semi-limited section, Change of Heart coming even further off the list. I mean, listen, in the TCG we just got Mind Control to 3. Change of Heart's just better Mind Control, right? So if they just want to, they could just release it. And if they, as long as they don't have like a severe problem of people being able to play 7 copies or whatever of these Steal a Monster cards, then release them all. I don't think they're like overly broken or anything. My friend Pearly. This one's weird because, like, where's Pearly on this list? Pearly is down here tied with Centurion as the 8th best deck, and again, another hit to them. They see my friend go from unlimited to semi, so you just lose 1 copy. Not that big a deal, but this is a card that punishes hand trapping at certain points in combo lines, so it does take away a little bit of the deck's resiliency, but it's not that big of a hit. It's such a small one. They do these kinds of weird hits all the time. There Can Be Only One goes from 3 to 2. That's nice as well. That is 1 step away from matching the TCG's newest ban list as well. Definitely a card that definitely gets in that category of rivalry and goes in and should probably be at 1 as well. Labyrinth, finally a Labyrinth hit. I don't know if they have any hits to Labyrinth at this point. Neither does the TCG. Big welcome actually going to 2 here. That's not a nothing hit. This is, no matter what list of Labyrinth you are playing, this is a 3 of no matter what. This isn't enough to like really, really severely hinder the deck, but it is a nice little nick to them. I think this card at 1 is like a much more severe hit to them. At 2, it's still fine, because once you resolve that second one's grave effect, you're probably running away with the duel at that point. So the third one isn't like that crucial in most duels. But I think the second one really matters a lot in a lot of instances. So that would be a bigger hit to me. But still, really cool. That's something, at least. Really cool to see. Hopefully they go further with that on the next list and maybe put this down to 1. That would be nice. And then a bunch of unlimits as well to finish it up here. Gandor, this is like the FTK guy that I think they gave an errata to. Not a huge deal, doesn't matter. Fractal, they realized, doesn't need to be on here anymore. Cool. Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage to 3. That is something. That is really something. I'm curious if that's enough to make, you know, Striker go to the next level. Obviously, it's like a minimal gain for them, right? They already had 2 copies. This just makes it a little bit more, you know, consistent that you see it. Oh, it's still powerful though. I'm curious if that might be enough to, maybe even the difference too was that when we saw Striker being played in other decks, Sky Striker Orcus, Sky Striker Trickstar, right? Some of those other Sky Striker lists, when Striker was still good, they had Engage at 3, and it made it so that the engine was much more able to be searched out and set up as an assisting engine. But when Engage was at 1, you couldn't really do that as well because it just didn't have the ability there to consistently see that the best cards in that engine. But that's cool. That's cool to see. I'm curious if that'll, you know, bring anything to fruition. Dragonic Diagram goes to Unlimited. That's cool as well. Again, until they get something like Master Plan, not Master Plan, the big guy, the big towersy guy. Until they get something like him back, they just don't seem to have enough going on with their game plan to have to make this worth it. So unless we get support or they release Masterpiece, that's his name, this doesn't really matter that much to me. And then Fluanderies, they had the Magnificent Map on there. We don't have any of those cards on there. They have their full engine available. We just banned the Floodgate Wind guy, and that was enough to keep them in check. So not too worried about that. But yeah, all in all, like, it's fine. I don't think it's really all that impactful for them. I really don't think it's going to change much of the format. I mean, if you look at the best decks and what got hit here, Rescue Ace got a decent hit with Emergency going to 1. Then Fire King's untouched, Snake Eyes untouched, Infernoid's untouched, whatever, Silent Force untouched, Branded untouched, or Runic untouched, and then you get all the way down where we have like a little Centurion hit, a little Labyrinth hit, and a little Pearly hit, which is kind of crazy that they felt like they needed to hit like the decks that are tied for like 8th place in their format. But I guess they've been around for a while, so they wanted to give them a little nick and try and give some other decks a chance to float around. But it kind of looks like they're set up to have Fire King just dominate their format going forward. We'll have to keep a watchful eye on that and see how much that matters. We'll also have to see how the finishing reveals of Legacy of Destruction goes to see if that could potentially warp their format as well. But we'll obviously see as that goes. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below on this new ban list from them. If this has anything that you think might, you know, be comparable to the TCG in any way. But I'm curious to see where they go with this. Definitely. But I'm out of here. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that stuff. I will see you guys either tomorrow or the day after, depending on if we get anything, any news specifically. And I'll see you then. Peace.